wonderful day at Wellness 101 with your Be Well Life Coach, Dr. Adrienne Pinkney. Greetings! It's me, Dr. Pinkney, your favorite Be Well coach. Today in Wellness 101, we are going to discuss boundaries. And like in all of our videos, we will start with 3 quotes about boundaries. So let's get to it. Quote 1. It is by Henry Cloud. It says, boundaries define us. They define what is me and what is not me. A boundary shows me where I end and where someone else begins, leading me to a sense of ownership. Knowing what I am to own and take responsibility for gives me freedom. The next quote. A lack of boundaries invites a lack of respect. I don't know who said it, but I love it. And just another little quote that I found. Number 1, you are allowed to set boundaries. Number 2, you are allowed to wave bye-bye to anyone who doesn't respect them without apology. So with that, what is a boundary? Well, it's really simple. A boundary is a line in the sand. That's really what it is. We have boundaries in almost all of our relationships. With our work, with our partners, with our children, even with our families. There are lines that say this is where I start and this is where I stop here. This is what I allow and this is what I don't. And boundaries are so important, and clearly articulated boundaries are very important because they help people be in positive and loving relationship with us, and it helps us do the same for them. So why do we need boundaries? Well, I have several clients who struggle with setting boundaries, and one of the things that I notice is many of them are angry and resentful over time with their partners, with their children. How could he? How could they? Well, really they could because they're allowed to. The boundaries haven't been set and they have not been made clear. So boundaries are so loving. Anyone who loves themselves has boundaries, and anyone who loves the people who they are inviting in their lives have boundaries too, because it really helps other people be more successful in relationship with you. So what are some of the boundaries that I have in my life? One of my boundaries is yelling, right? I don't allow people to yell at me. I don't care who, what, when, where, why. I just don't do yelling. So the way that I articulate that boundary is by first making room for someone. I will always say, I love talking to you, and I'm always willing to hear what it is you want to share. I'm always interested in knowing how you're feeling and where you are. However, I cannot have this conversation with you if you are yelling. So we can return to this conversation when you are no longer yelling, or you can stop yelling now and we can continue this conversation, but I cannot allow you to yell at me. Great boundary. Right? It lets the person know the room that they do have. I can talk to Adrienne. Adrienne is interested in knowing how I'm feeling. Adrienne is here. Adrienne is not going to be here if I'm yelling. So that gives them the power to make a choice, to reset, calm down, whatever it is, so that we can continue the conversation, because I want to have the conversation. Said that, right? So we articulate boundaries all the time. People often put boundaries with their kids. Okay, don't go in my purse unless you ask me first, right? Which gives somebody permission. Okay, my mom didn't say don't ever go in my purse. That's not what she said. She said I have to ask her, and then I can go in there and get the $5, or then I can go in there and get her hand lotion. But I can't go in there without her permission. I saw a mom in the grocery store with a screaming toddler set a great boundary. She told her kid no. Her kid fell out on the floor and started screaming. Okay, we often respond to no like that when we're still learning how to deal with big emotions. So the kid fell out on the floor and mom set a very loving boundary. She says, I know you're upset, and it's okay that you're upset, and you can stay on the floor. What you can't do is yell in this grocery store. You can't yell. And the kid stayed on the floor and stop yelling. That was her boundary. There was a little space for that 3 or 4-year-old to still experience parts of a temper tantrum, kind of getting there, right? And still some boundaries set by mom. And I'm sure as that kid gets older, there will be new boundaries, like stop falling out on this floor. But you get space. Boundaries are so loving. And the great thing about boundaries is that they can be flexible with time. For example, when you're dating someone or creating a new relationship, you can set boundaries with even what you want to share. somebody asks you a personal question, you can say, I'm not really ready to answer that right now. If we can continue dating or as our friendship grows, I'd like to share that with you later, but I can't share that with you now. That's an emotional boundary. That's a mental boundary. You get to set boundaries in every area of your life. For example, even physical boundaries, something we all need, especially when inviting new people in our lives. And ladies, you gotta have these when you're dating. Which, you give space and you make it clear where there's not space. Like, no, don't touch my booty. Don't do that. But you can always hold my hand. I like when you hold my hand. Great boundary that says this space is not available to you, but this space is. Or if there's no space available, don't touch me. Very clear. And I also add that you encourage that you add a physical gesture to that one as well. Don't. Help them get it in a little crazy eye if you need that. We can have boundaries in every area of our lives. We can have material boundaries, physical boundaries, sexual boundaries, emotional boundaries. Some of us have to set boundaries with our parents. People can ask questions that you don't feel comfortable answering. Maybe a parent asks you something about maybe your sex life with your partner, and you have a right to set a boundary. Mama, I love talking to you about my relationships. And I do want you to know, where I am and what's going on, but I'm not comfortable with letting you know about that part of my life. And you can set an expectation there as well. Please don't ask me questions like that anymore. Don't ask me those kind of questions. Boundary. And they're so loving. They are so loving. When you love somebody, you really set a boundary with them so that they can be more successful in relationship with you. Imagine if I was dating someone and I didn't set the boundaries around what I wanted with physical touch, right? So maybe all night he's trying to put his arm around me or hug up on me or be too close, and I'm uncomfortable all night. Go to the bathroom, text my girlfriend, girl, why are you touching me? Well, I didn't set a boundary there. I didn't make myself very clear. And that's something that's really, really loving for other people when you tell them what you want from them and what you don't. So, for example, hey, it's our first time going out. I'm okay with hugs when we greet or, at the end of the night. I'm just not there right now. It's a little bit too much touch for me. I'm not grossed out by it. I don't hate you. It's just a little too much. And that's a very clear boundary, and it's very loving because as the night goes on, you don't have to be frustrated and disgusted and mad all the time because you haven't set your clear boundary. Sometimes people set very loose boundaries that allow for certain behavior, that give consent to behavior, sometimes that they don't even want because they are afraid of the true boundary that they really want. So, for example, someone might say to an unfaithful partner, well, I do know this. I don't know what you do, but I know that you better not have our kids around it. Boundary, and it gives permission. Interesting. So it gives permission maybe for unfaithful behavior to continue. That's the best you could do. But then also says, here's my boundary. Don't have my kids around that stuff. Right? But maybe what she really wants is my boundary is I am not going to be in relationship with you, or if you are pursuing or in any kind of romantic relationship with anyone else. That's my real boundary. I require exclusivity. So if you don't want to choose that, if you don't want to be a part of that, then that's my boundary and I am leaving. Oh, let me tell you something now. Boundaries are not ultimatums. And boundaries and ultimatums are very, very different. Some people get a little bit confused about them, but they're different. And here's how they're different. So, boundaries only are about what you are going to do. Ultimatums are about what happens to somebody else, what you're going to do to them. So, for example, let's say I have a partner who moves really slow, and maybe kids who move really slow, and they make you late for everything you don't want to be late to. And you're always late, and you're always angry, and because you don't have a boundary there. That's really why you're mad. I'm late. I'm sitting here. I'm waiting for y'all. I'm fussing. I'm cussing. We all get in the car. It's unpleasant. Y'all are late. Partner's late. Kid's not ready. Okay. What you need is a really clear boundary. So if you're giving an ultimatum, it would be like, y'all better be ready. And if you're not ready by the time I tell you to get ready, then y'all are not going to the park next weekend. Okay, that's a little bit of a threat and an ultimatum. It's like, if you're not ready, then, it's something that you're going to do to them or something that's going to happen to them, right? But what a boundary is just to keep you safe. Okay, honey, I know that you need extra time to get dressed. So I will be so kind to tell you, a little bit earlier that you might want to start getting dressed, and I'll let you be aware of the time, but I am unwilling to be late. I can't be late. This is important to me. I can't be late. I just don't like walking in the room late. It's just not good for me. So I'm going to leave. If you're not ready, I'm going to leave. If you're yelling, I'm going to walk away from the conversation. Just for me. That's it. If you repeatedly don't do what you say you're going to do, I'm not going to be able to be a part of this relationship. Just me. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, really, because that's the thing I can't control. But what I can control is me. And what you'll find is that when you have very clear boundaries, people who want to stay with you, people who want to stick with you, they'll find a way to adjust so that they can be within your parameters. If they want to have the conversation, they'll stop yelling. They'll stop. And if they don't, then maybe that's not somebody you want to keep on your team. If they want to go with you, if they want to be in the car with you, if that's something that makes them feel good, I don't want to walk in that party by myself, or I don't want to do that, kids don't want to miss it, they don't want to get left, or whatever it is, they'll adjust, they'll get in the car. They might get in their car with their shoes under their arm, doing their hair, putting their makeup on, but they'll make it in the car. Oh, sorry, y'all, people are emailing me. I'd like to add one more thing about boundaries. So something else is really important about boundaries is learning how to set boundaries where you haven't had one before. So the first thing that you should do whenever you want to set a boundary with people, with a group of people or an individual that you haven't had a boundary with before, you got to be clear about what you've allowed before. Hey kids, I know I used to let y'all call me at work all day. And when you called me at work, I used to pick up the phone and I'd say, y'all stop calling me at work. And then I'd still engage your conversation. It wasn't a good boundary for me. And now I'm finding that it's not working because my work's not done. And y'all are emotionally supported and y'all are happy. And I'm sitting here stressed because I haven't gotten my work done. And I come into work the next day and I'm stressed. And it's not good for me. It's not good for me. So today I am setting a new boundary with you teenage children and husband and maybe girlfriends who call me at work all the time. Here's the new boundary. First, state what you are willing to do. I'm always willing to be there for you guys whenever I can. I love you, and listening to you and being there for you is a part of what I enjoy about being a mother or being a friend or being a wife. Thank you for trusting me to do that. However, I cannot do that between 9 and 12, and between 1 and 5. Unless you can give them a little bit of space, it is an absolute emergency. I know that I've told you guys this before, but I still answered the phone. At this point, if you call me at work, I will ask you first, is anybody dead, dying, sick, or about to die? If the answer is no, I will say, well, then I will talk to you when I get off of work, and I will hang up the phone. I'm not hanging up on you, because I'm letting you know now. I'm going to hang up the phone. Boundary. Help them out. Help them get it. Now, you have to be accountable for your new boundary for yourself, because part of the reason the boundary was never respected before, be accountable, is because you didn't keep it. So if you really do intend to get that peace so I can go to work and just be here from 9 to 5 and put all my energy here from 9 to 5 and then I can go home and be fully present to my children, fully present to my husband, then I am going to get off the phone. And you have to be okay with the uncomfortable feelings. But that's a whole nother video. How to feel your feelings. Check it out. A whole nother video about being okay with feeling uncomfortable getting off the phone and being okay with them having to go support themselves emotionally for a little while. They can do it. They can do it. And when you empower them to do it, they will. And they won't die. They won't die. And you'll get your work done. And when you come home, you'll be able to walk in the door and be that sweet, loving mom that everyone enjoys. And come in and be happy and kiss faces and take the food out the crock pot because I know you put it in there in advance. You go, girl. A way to set new boundaries. 1, acknowledge where there wasn't a boundary in the past. 2, acknowledge what behavior was allowed in the past. And I know that means you thought you can call me all day. 3, set the boundary. This is what I need from you now. This is what is allowed now. This is what is expected now. This is what is not allowed now. Set the boundary very, very clearly. And then 4, and this is only for you, reinforce it lovingly. Reinforce your boundary. Hey, baby, is everybody okay? Anybody dead? All right, I'm going to talk to you at 5. I'll call you when I get in the car. I love you. Bye. That's a boundary. There are all kinds of boundaries, like I was saying. There are material ones, physical ones, sexual ones, spiritual ones, all of those kind of things. I love boundaries because when you really, really love somebody and you really want them to be okay and you really want you to be okay, so that you guys can have a safe and loving relationship, you have boundaries. When you put your teenager on punishment and they are pissed, right, because they're in trouble and they're grounded, okay, they're grounded. And give them some space. You know what, baby? I know you're upset because you just found out that you chose to come in this house late. So now you know that means I'm taking your car for a month. And you have every right to be mad. And yes, you can go in your room and close the door. You can even stay in there all day if you want. But what you can't do is slam doors in my house. Don't slam the door. That's my boundary. Go in there, close it. Be in there. Don't slam the door. Loving boundary. It gives them space. It honors their emotional experience. It honors that they have a reason to be mad at themselves. They have a reason to be mad. And it gives them a space to go release some of that anger. And it also gives you the respect that you deserve for your home as a parent. Everybody gets some room. It's really, really beautiful because a lot of us come from families where you're not even allowed to go in your room and close the door. You know, if you get in trouble and you go in your room and close the door, somebody, my mom will come kick you closing doors in my house. Can't close it. I take this door. Oh, God. Ooh, Lord, I had no space. Give your teenagers space, please, y'all. But that's not what this video is about. Give them some space to let them feel and have their own emotional experiences. It's not disrespectful for them to want to go be by themselves for a minute. That's not disrespectful. We need to know that. Okay. Whew, that's not what this video is about. Video is about boundaries. Yeah, you have to have boundaries in relationships with your friends and family, even boundaries about money. Oh my God, that's so important. If somebody's asking you for money all the time and you don't feel comfortable with that, tell your friend, you know, like, I love our friendship and we are so close, but it makes me feel uncomfortable when I come up, you know, to talk to you about things and I feel like you're going to ask me for money or you're going to try to sell me Avon or you're going to try to sell me, you know, whatever powder that you're selling now that's going to help me lose weight. Girl, you know I ride for you and you know I'm here for you. But when I come and visit you, can you not pitch me anything? Boundary. Please don't sell me anything. Boundary. Because you know I'm coming over, loving space. Remind her where she is. I'm coming over and you know I'm going to bring my famous juice I make, girl. You know we're going to have a good time. Don't sell me nothing. Boundary. Boundaries are so loving, and that's the thing we have to get. When you really love your man, when you really love that woman, you tell her. Tell her from a loving place, baby, I know that when we're having our serious discussions in our bedroom, and sometimes you kind of go there, and I let you do that, and that's okay, and I know you need that space. You cannot talk to me like that in front of our children. I love you, baby. Don't do that again. Boundary. And if you decide to use that tone with me in front of our children, I will lovingly leave the room. So I don't want you to think that I'm walking out on you or abandoning you or anything like that. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you now, honey. So when you see it happen, you know that that's my way of continuing to respect you by not going there with you, right? I'm going to continue to respect you. I'm not abandoning you. I'm going to stay in the house. I'm not going to get in the car and leave. I'm not going to do anything like that. But I will not stand in the room when you use that tone. And I can't wait till we can talk about it because I love to talk to you because you must beat it. All of that. Boundary. Boundaries are beautiful. I encourage you to love yourself enough to set all the boundaries that you need in your life. Set emotional boundaries. Ooh, girl, I can't listen to you talk about him no more. Boundary. Financial boundaries. Please don't keep asking me for money. Emotional boundaries. I need you to change your tone. It makes me feel unsafe when you talk to me like that. It might not be your intention, but that's what I need. Set boundaries with your children. I expect you to be in the house at 11 o'clock. Boundary. Be here. I encourage you to reflect now. This is your life work. This is what I want you to do. Reflect now on an area of your life that you would like to have improve, an area of your life that you would like to be a little bit better or that you'd like to feel a little safer, some place where you might be triggered or not exactly getting what you need. Be honest with yourself and really think of how you've invited a lack of respect or a lack of consideration or discomfort into your life, how you have allowed and invited that in, that uncomfortable conversation that you're not ready to have. How can you set a boundary there? Can you stop asking me that? I'm not ready to talk about that yet. I'll let you know when I'm ready to have that conversation. Boundary. Get one, get a few. Not only because you radically, unapologetically, and fiercely love yourself, but because you love them too. Thanks for listening. I hope you got something good. Share this video with a friend. Share, subscribe, share, and subscribe. Be well.
Be happy. Be free. Be loud. Be peaceful. Be loved. Be fly. Be well.